Hello everyone, Stitch Productions here, and today I am doing something a little different. And I know all you Plush King 101 fans will be a little annoyed that I'm doing a showcase about a Transformer before I do anything about my plush. Um, Eventually I'll do a video talking about that, but for now, this video is about my latest and first ever, real custom figure. Now, I don't know if the review will be out at the point, but in my scrapper review, I do mention I made a custom in the past, and I have made customs, but this actually was one of the biggest efforts I've ever done with a custom, and I'm actually somewhat proud of. First, I'm going to show you guys who this character is, and then talk about the process, and then I'll showcase at the end how this character turned out. So let's talk about Rack and Ruin. So, who are Rack and Ruin? Well, Rack and Ruin are conjoined Autobot brothers that appeared in the Marvel UK comics in Target 2006 Part 4 Wreck and Rule, which introduced them as Wreckers. Originally, they started out as Marvel exclusive characters, but because the Wreckers gained a following, they appeared in other continuities, such as the IDW continuity, where they were originally Decepticons, but eventually defected to the Autobots and got conjoined. Um, in the years, they gained more popularity. They appeared in the original Marvel continuity as Wreckers, in their interpretation of the Wreckers. Uh, they did die in Target 2006, so that kind of left, they couldn't really return. But fan demand for Rackaroon to get more attention kept increasing, and we got a third-party version of them, which isn't bad, but I'm not a fan of it. I was never going to buy it in the first place. And Rackaroon was a very popular figure to customize uh, around, I want to say, the 2000s. You got a lot of figures and a lot of YouTubers and creators making their own Rackaroon, which is fine. And eventually, the Cyberverse show came out, which was his first TV appearance. He appeared in Transformers Cyberverse, uh, the Traitor episode, where Bumblebee in a flashback, and then became a reoccurring character with jokes. And eventually, since the episode's not out now, Rack and Ruin will appear in Season 2, Episode 23, in a showcase episode, which is actually very nice. But with his TV appearance, we were surprised to get a Rack and Ruin toy, which it's official, and that's cool. It isn't bad, but I would prefer something a little different. I kind of wish the figure was a little bit more accurate to the original Marvel comics, and looking through Google, seeing inspiration, because I was thinking about making one, I stumbled upon this, a new Rack and Ruin custom I haven't seen before that was made out of two Siege refractors. And so, with this inspiration, I decided to make my custom Rack and Ruin. So, I got my refractors on an eBay deal for a pretty decent price, and I unboxed them on May 27th, 2020, which I actually posted a video, and a lot of you guys thought I was either going to make some kind of Viacons, or Scrapface, or I even saw a comment that said Perceptor, but I was not making that after all. I was making my Rack and Ruins. So, what I did was first I had to take them completely apart. I feel this was the best way to paint everything. The hardest parts to do was the chest, because the pins are for some reason inside. Like there was no real way to take it out, so I had to mess up the plastic, which kind of sucks, but I feel like it was worth it in the end. Also, something that was hard was popping out the hip pins. There was a method that I figured to work in the end, but that was also rather difficult. Some supplies I got were was this paint. Um, don't really know the name off the top of my head, but as you can see in the picture, I bought a dark green, a light green, and a yellow. I eventually had to go back to get another dark green. So yeah. After I picked out my paints, decided to, and I was done taking everything apart. I bought a primer, same brand. Uh, People recommend a gray primer to do your things in, but they didn't have that in stock, so I used a white primer. Sprayed all the parts. Actually, before I sprayed all of them, I actually washed them to get any dust off because I was, how to put it, sanding pieces down. Certain joints, like they'll rub on too much. For example, let's just say the waist joint, because it could go all the way around. If I didn't sandpaper it, then it could possibly get messed up. If the paint that I do could possibly mess up while I'm turning the figure or trying to pose him. So yeah. Now I originally was gonna go off the Transformers Regeneration 1 comics where they had a gray head, so I also bought a gray paint. But eventually I decided to change that. I just preferred the look in the end of two green heads. And I did go through a lot of changes in this time. So you are able to sculpt your own head. My method to remove the original head was sandpapering it off because there's no screws. There was nothing to really do that with, so I just had to sand the head until it broke. Which I don't really recommend, but if you have to do it that way, then you have to do it that way. So you could technically make your own head from the remaining pieces, if you're good at molding. But what I decided to do, remember that picture, my inspiration for this scrap Rack and Ruin? Well, that's actually a Shapeways link where you could get pieces. It comes with the two heads, weapons, and a connector. And that connector will fall into play later. So as as you see, I painted everything. I did about 3 layers of it, of 3 layers of paint, green paint. So yeah, I did 2 layers of the plaster, and 2 layers of the primer, and this is how the body turned out. Now I did order the heads a little late in the game, and it did take a while because there's an epidemic going on at the time, and I was a little bored. So something in my mind that came up was, what if I make a custom chest? Cause I was gonna buy clay either way to cover up the belly button hole, and I broke a piece of the refractor while I was taking it apart, so this was a good option for me. So what I did, I ordered epoxy sculpt, and I hear that's very good for action figures and all that stuff. So yeah, I ordered epoxy sculpt originally just for the small parts, but eventually it would become the chest. So as you saw in the unboxing, I actually got 3 refractors. Missing weapons, so that kind of sucks. I don't have an extra refractor. If you guys have any ideas what I could do with it, leave it in the comments. But like of a custom. But I just used Play-Doh and Silly Putty just to get an idea of how I would mold a new chest for it. And there weren't any I particularly liked the most. I guess the one I liked the most was this one. So yeah. Once the heads arrived, I primered them and painted them. I did paint one head gray and one head green, just to see which I liked more. And as you can see, the chest is very similar to the old version. I do have some pictures of that with the wreckers, how it would stand. But in the end, I decided to mold my own chests. And you could say that was a dumb idea, or you could say it was a good idea. But I'm happy with that in the end. Now, I mentioned that connector piece earlier. So, something you should do that I even mentioned before, I did not do. Did not sand that piece down. So it got stuck in one end and broke. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I did contact Shapeways and they did send me replacement parts, but that came a long time after. So what I did is I used this black piece that comes in Lego sets. It's pretty compatible with 5mm ports, so that's nice. And I also took this antenna piece from Lego sets and used that for the antenna that is on the back, sometimes a Rack and Ruin. So yeah. So after I finished molding the body, it did take to get some smooth edges. I had to sand it down, and I painted that green, and he was finally complete. Now let's go to the showcase. And here we have the final product, and I'm satisfied with these. I did do my own thing, as you could see. The original Rack and Ruin did not have these green things, and yeah, I am somewhat proud of them. You could like them, you could hate them, but this is my own thing, and I'm satisfied with it. So yeah, as you could see, Rack and Ruin are conjoined, but easily removable, since I used that Lego piece. And yeah, as also, I did not mention this, I kept the original arms of the refractors, and if I really want to, they could be individual bots. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And the weapon accessories are removable. Let's take it off here. But I recommend being careful just because, one, not to scrape the paint, and two, just to be fragile with your figures. So yeah, here you have that. And let's just take off the weapon accessory on this one too. Yeah, so I'm very happy with how these turned out. And this is a little stuck. Let me just grab something to take it out with. Why is this stuck? There we go. So yeah, I made these just because I wanted a Rack and Ruin in my collection, and I didn't feel like buying that figure. As you could see, compared to an original Refractor, he does kind of share that body scheme. But yeah, let me get a close up for you guys. The side and the back. As you can see, these are still capable, and I guess I could try to transform him. I'm gonna do it slowly and carefully. I'll just speed it up for the stop motion. I meant for the transformation segment. But yeah. Oh, and before I go into that, here's a little close up on the weapons. Painted in gray, and I had to shave down the handles a little bit just because, you know, that's what you gotta do. So yeah, I'll go into the transformation. And here you have my makeshift alt mode. It's not that good, honestly. It's just something I'm not even gonna use, I feel. But yeah. I feel like this could have worked out better if I did not make this custom chest. I could have done a little bit more. But I'm okay with this if I really need an alt mode. But yeah, let me just put these back in their robot mode real quick. And there we have them back in the robot modes. And like I said, I'm satisfied with these figures. Even though they're not perfect, I know they're not perfect, I could do a lot of things better. Maybe I'll even go back in the future to redo these chests, or maybe even pay someone else to do it, because I bought an extra pair of their heads, since an extra part of their accessories. Since I mentioned that their piece broke, I told Shapeways, and they sent me replacement parts. So if I really want to make a new one, I have those replacement parts. I am still satisfied with this for now. If I really want something different, I will have that done. But yeah, I learned a lot from making this figure, that I took into my future customs, which maybe I'll do a showcase on. But I hope you all enjoyed this like little retrospective, or I don't know, look back on how I made this figure. I did enjoy making him most of the time. Taking apart process was difficult at times, but I figured it out. Let's bring in some wreckers. Here's Impactor. Here is Siege Springer. And where's my Guzzle? I don't know. Oh, here he is. Here is Guzzle. And I'm glad I put in the extra money to, you know, pay for these extra heads and weapons. So yeah, all these wreckers look good. I might focus on making some wreckers customs soon, but yeah, I'm really satisfied with how these came out. Leave your ideas in the comments for maybe other future customs, and what you guys think of my customs. You guys could say it sucks, or you could say they're great. It doesn't matter. Your opinion is your opinion. Hope you all have a good day. And if you all enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.